Round 4 of the Women's Six Nations is done. This actually doesn't work. I was trying to be smart and use a microphone, but I don't know how to connect it to my phone, so not quite a pro YouTuber yet. Round 4, we're going to review, we're going to preview the final round as well as talk about who's likely to qualify for World Cup and WXV1. So let's get into it. England, Ireland. Ireland had a massive task ahead of them, going to Twickenham. 48,000 fans there to watch that one, and England, I was at the press conference on Thursday, England were pumped. You could just tell they were really up for this game. Ireland, off the back of a very impressive win over Wales, could be confident, but the task they faced was just too big. England winning in the end, 88 points to 10, which nobody really likes to see, to be honest, but you cannot fault England. They were relentless. They were really good, and they looked as sharp as I've ever seen them look as a team. Unfortunately for Ireland, they didn't even play that badly. They just were outclassed in every area of the game. Ellie Kilden won her 3rd Player of the Match award, so I've heard that in camp they don't even clap her anymore when she gets it, to keep her nice and humble. But also standout performances. Dow was fantastic with her finishing. Jones was great. Zoe Oldcroft, fantastic. I think she forgot she had 2nd row on her shirt and was playing like a winger. Line breaks all over the place, looking really rapid. And worth mentioning, Emily Scarrett, when she came on, there was quite a bit of pressure on her to perform, especially as against Italy. There was murmurs that maybe she looked like she'd been out of the game for a while, but she was class. Every touch she had either led to a try or the kick through. Everything she touched was spot on. Now, if we look at Ireland, they have a very young team, and that means they're in a good place to really build this squad, because I think there is enough there that we've seen so far over the Six Nations to show a huge improvement from last year and hopefully a big step up again. Next up, Italy, Scotland. By all accounts, this was the game of the weekend. Scotland haven't beaten Italy in Italy for 25 years, but they also hadn't beaten Wales for a long time in Wales, and they did that in the very first round, so good things happening for Scotland. And again, unfortunately for me, meant my predictions were wrong. I thought that Italy might just edge it with all that history and with them being at home, but Scotland had other ideas. Italy did, however, start strong. Alicia Dinka, who we've spoken her name quite a few times throughout this tournament for Italy, was playing 13 instead of wing, and she carved up on a lovely support line and had a brilliant finish, beating quite a few defenders on her way. So she has really impressed this tournament. Scotland then responded with Lana Skeldon off a driven maul line out, going over to score their try, going into half time all even. It was a second half, however, with a brace of tries for Scotland that meant that they ran away with it. They got a great kick from Lisa Thompson, who has kicked very tactically well this entire tournament. A lovely chase to the breakdown, turnover and score from that, and finished off with a beautiful try from Chloe Rolly. A really great individual try, such a strong runner and finisher, but unfortunately for her, in the last few seconds of the game, gave away a yellow card for a dangerous clear out, which went to the bunker.
For me, at a minimum, this is going to meet the yellow card threshold.
And post conclusion of the game, that has been upgraded to a red, so extremely likely she is going to miss the last round, which is a big shame for Scotland, because there is so much up for grabs for them, which I will go into at the end of this video. So Scotland win for the first time in Italy in 25 years with an impressive performance and ending up 17-10. And then the final game, Wales-France. Wales were wanting to put some wrongs right after getting annihilated by Ireland the week before, but it was always going to be a tough ask against the French. France have really built into this tournament. I don't think they started as strongly as we have seen them perform before, but they have really built their performances up, and this again was another step up for them. The A struck first, the loose head prop for France, who's played fantastically this whole tournament, and France were really looking to play with some great tempo. They scored off a quick line out, and Wales were just caught sleeping. They got an intercept on their own defensive try line and ran the whole way to score, and they got some beautiful tries linking really well with the forwards and backs, and Wales just didn't have an answer. So France took that one 40 points to 0. Now I'm going to break into why this is so important when I look ahead to the final round, but just to sum this up, France looking very, very strong and dangerous. Wales looking lost and really have struggled this Six Nations. Scotland building, they're doing things that they haven't done for very many years. Italy brave but left wanting. England just looking ruthless and almost flawless in terms of their performance, and Ireland, despite being a young, brave side, just caught short. Now, let's look ahead to round 5, the final round. Now, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Grand Slam decider, England-France. But before we do that, I want to have a little look at what happens to third place in the table. So up for grabs for third place is not only World Cup qualification, automatically there is also a place in WXV1. Fair to say, a lot at stake here. Now, going into round 5, Scotland are sat pretty at third, so they can be feeling pretty confident. All they have to do to secure that is beat Ireland in the final round, because even if Italy then beat Wales, Scotland are enough ahead that they would take third place. So now let's go in as a preview of those games. So we're going to kick off with France-England. France always perform better in France. However, I think that this England squad isn't going to be fazed by a tough French crowd. I think they are going to be really, really switched on. Now, the reason that France-Wales performance was so important was in order for this to be a credible tournament and an exciting final round, France need to perform, they need to show up. I have my own theories on this, that England, ahead of a World Cup in 2025, need that challenge as well. So actually not just in terms of for the Six Nations, but for the World Cup, for England, they need France to show up on their best form for this Le Crunch match. So, key things to look for in this area. We are going to see some big collisions. You're going to see the likes of Alex Matthews for England coming up against Romain Ménager. Players like that, the calibre of players that they are, there's going to be some big hits. We're going to see massive defences from both sides. Another area to take attention to is England's place kicking, which this round has been far better, but it has been questioned across the tournament. And when it comes down to tighter games, like England-France should be, that could be an important factor. Now, the other thing that has been a hot topic over this tournament, especially when it comes to England, is discipline. They've had 2 red cards in 4 games now, and they've had yellows as well. So discipline has been questioned. Now, against the team so far hasn't made a difference, and I really think they could beat teams with 13 players. France need to play really smart rugby. They cannot be kicking to the likes of Kildun and Dow and Breach in any area of space, so they need to make sure those kicks are hitting grass and they have a good chase on them as well. But they also need to play with flair and they need to play with confidence, because when France are at their most dangerous, it's when they are heads up, they are linking their forwards and their backs together. We've seen them run out of their 22 a couple of times now, and that's what they need to bring against England. So predictions wise, I'm going to pick England, and depending whether France turn up will dictate how big a scoreline that is. I'm hoping it's going to be a tightly fought battle, but there is still a fear if England really show up and France don't, England could still put 30 points on France. Next up, we have Scotland-Ireland, and this is an important game, as mentioned before, for Scotland, because they will be wanting to finish third, the best that they will have finished for quite some time, and you can really see those professional contracts have made a huge difference with the way that Scotland have played. They have looked in really good control. They have looked very passionate and very confident in their styles of play, which unfortunately against England we just didn't see any of. Ireland are obviously going to be hurting. Nobody wants 88 points put on them, especially not in front of 48,000 people. So they will go to this final game boosted with confidence from what they did to Wales, but also that does have to hurt. So they'll be wanting to put some pride in their performances, but I think Scotland are going to be too strong, and for a cliche, I think there's more at stake for them. So they're going to want it more and they're going to really work hard to get that win. So predicting a Scotland win for that one. Then moving on to Italy, Wales. So a big game for Italy because in order to keep their hopes alive of coming third, they will want to get a bonus point win and they will just have their fingers crossed for Scotland to lose. Wales will have to really dig deep this weekend because there are a lot of questions being asked. They've had contracts now for a while and those contracts not looking to have made the difference that they would have wanted. I think there's going to be a review of the whole coaching setup, structure, right from the top of Welsh rugby to look at what could be improved and what's gone wrong and why these contracts aren't working. So I predict an Italy win this weekend. It will be tight, but Italy will take it. So to sum up my preview of the final round, I'm going for an England Grand Slam win in France. I'm going for Scotland to beat Ireland to qualify for World Cup and WXV1, and I'm going for an Italy win and Wales bottom of the table. So would love to know your thoughts. Comment on whether you agree, disagree, or just generally let me know your thoughts. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe.